A spiritual awakening is not just about ascension. First, it's about descending. And descending means we go down into the lower energy centers of our body and we descend into the truth of who we are. So, step one is gnosis. We have to know ourselves. And I'm not just talking about knowing ourselves in a superficial way. I mean, we have to know the things that are perhaps too scary to look at when we're young. We're looking at the unconscious patterns, the things that we did to have to survive childhood, looking at things that maybe make us uncomfortable. So we have to know ourselves and we have to know what the illusions are that we're dealing with so that we can start to deconstruct them. Because the second phase is to die. And this doesn't mean physically, but it does mean dying while we are alive. And dying while we are alive is the process of recognizing that the things that we've lived have been a lie. Maybe we are living for somebody else. Maybe we're living for our parents' approval. Maybe we're making choices or denying ourselves the things that we want and need in life because it's how we've been conditioned. And so dying while we are alive means deconstructing those things and living in a way that is more true for ourselves and in alignment with ourselves and with God. Because when we start to walk in alignment, we start to hear spirit more clearly and the little breadcrumbs are given to us on our path. So after we die and go through that process, there is a process of rebirth that happens. And this is such a scary process because between death and rebirth is the void. It's the void. It's where we don't know what's coming. We know what we are doing in our life isn't working anymore. We know that this isn't working, but what's next? I don't know. And so that is where we're jumping. And it's this trust fall, right? I am going to jump and I'm going to trust that there's a net there that spirit or God or the divine has placed underneath me. Because when I'm being true to myself, I know that I'm also being true to my divine purpose. And when we're true to our divine purpose, we always have a net. The next synchronicity, the next right person, the next opportunity, those doors are going to open. But the only way that happens is when we're acting in accordance with that higher law, with our true life's purpose. So there's this void in the middle of really uncomfortable space of like the snake that's shedding its skin and it's kind of exposed, and that's where we are. So the new life hasn't come in and the old life is crumbling, and this is where we start to really cultivate our faith in ourselves, to really trust ourselves, because so often when we've been traumatized, there's a rift between you and you. That rift is, oh, I've betrayed my needs so many times. Do I even trust myself? I have said yes so many times when I've said no. Do I even trust myself? And so we're repairing that bond. We're repairing the bond between you and you. And so after the void is rebirth. You're becoming something new, and you have to be so gentle with yourself here, because you're new all over again, right? Like a toddler who's learning how to take her first steps. You have felt so secure, so confident. Maybe you've been living in a routine and you're comfortable there, but now you're uncomfortable. You're a beginner all over again in this part. And so after rebirth is the exciting part. It's how we start to cultivate who we are in co-creation with the divine. After rebirth is knowing our true selves, which is creators. And when you know yourself as a creator, you know you're actually not a victim to anything. You might feel victimized by your circumstances, but what you ultimately come to recognize is that on some level, your soul chose this path. All the experiences, even the really hard ones. I have had these experiences of being able to step outside time, space, reality, almost like a near-death experience where I have been held and just almost cocooned in this light of divine love. And from that vantage point, from that perspective, this existence is so temporary. It's almost a joke. It almost feels like a cosmic joke when you see it from that perspective, because you're just like, oh my gosh, my soul chose these really, really hard lessons to learn. Like, why would I do that? Because from this third dimensional reality, from this particular realm, it is so incredibly painful. And so what I don't want you to do is listen to this and say, wow, she's really insensitive and she's trying to minimize my pain. That's not it at all. That's not it at all. What I'm saying is, even the things you were victim to as a child, even the hardest losses that you've gone through, have been something that you have chosen or your loved one has chosen on a soul level before you incarnated. And it is almost impossible to see it. But once you can see it, once you can see those things for what they truly are, it doesn't stop the grief. but it allows us a different perspective to be able to work through the pain and to understand that every single thing we go through has shaped our destiny or something that our souls wanted to learn in some way. And when it comes to the things that we've chosen in our lives, you can start to see the lesson in everything. So when you are co-creating your life, it's not that things get easy. It's not that things just come to you. I mean, you definitely get into a flow where you stop chasing those things and they seem to just come to you because they were meant for you, and you can see it more clearly. So you set up this attractor pattern that's very different, because when you're attracting from that deep pain, that deep subconscious pain, you attract more of that in. And that is for you too, because when you're attracting in deep pain, it's so you have an opportunity to look in the mirror and say, "Ooh, this is what's not healed in me yet. This is where I still can't stand up for myself. This is where my anger gets the best of me. This is where, the list goes on." And so all these things are happening for you as the refiner's fire so you can grow and evolve. But ultimately, we are creating our own reality. And that's the lesson in waking up. It's about radical responsibility. So if you're ready to take radical responsibility for your life and to stop seeing yourself as the victim and to start seeing yourself as a co-creator, you're in the right place.